everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is FAYSSAL NACHI. I'm the General Manager of Newfab. Newfab is based here in Riyadh. We are one of the market leaders for the modular construction for the past 40 years. Now, just to make sure we are all talking about the same topic, on the same wavelength, in a nutshell, modular construction, it's about prefabricated module that will be fully fitted out and partially furnished in factory, off-site, before being dispatched and transferred to site for assembly. Now, this could be a selected module with specific requirements, like a bathroom pod. It can be an MEP unit and data center, for example, and later on, will be plugged in an existing structure. But also, it can be a full building that will be broken down and manufactured, obviously, as a whole in the factory before being fully dispatched to site and assembled. Now, I often get asked the same question from many of the stakeholders that are even, some of them present here today. Should I invest in modular construction? Is it the right time to invest? Well, luckily, we are living in a very excited times. We are witnessing a disruption in this industry due to the adoption of a modern method of construction. Now, this graph behind me shows the evolution that is taking place here in Saudi and the central role that Vision 2030 is playing. You can see that for over 4 decades, prices were growing slowly, steadily, but slowly. Then in 2016, we had the announcement of Vision 2030, and then the big disruption took place. So the old fashioned notion of a prefab as being a labor low-end product has evolved, and it gave birth, or it branched out into 2 distinct segments. I will start with this one, what I like to call it the prefab 2.0, or the enhanced prefab, which is way more advanced with an amazing finishing, and it has nothing to do with what used to be done before. And then we have the other part, which is the birth of a new segment, that is the modular construction. Here we are talking about full-fledged modular with caging system, concrete decking, and buildings suitable for complex multi-story structures like hotels and hospitals. Actually, Vision 2030 disrupted the entire economy. It shifted its center of gravity from being infrastructure-oriented toward becoming hospitality-oriented. And we, as an industry, we had to also adapt. So we also shifted our focus from mass customization, from mass production towards mass customization, from temporary to permanent, from low-end to high-end. Now, it is true that the demand for the time being is still down there, at this level here. This is where I can safely assume 80 to 90% of the demand is still there. I can see your expressions. What about modular demand? Well, luckily, due to the Vision 2030, all government agencies and all PIF entities like NEOM, Roshan, DGDA, they are emphasizing and promoting the adoption of modern method of construction, and in many cases, specifically requiring the adoption of modular construction. So, in order to all of us be active in the adoption or even in this transformation in the Vision 2030, we need to jointly collaborate to bring this industry towards maturity. Now, for sure, beyond Vision 2030, modular construction has also its own merits. The first point is faster execution, so we have a considerable time saving here. Mainly it comes from the fact that we can execute the work in our factory in parallel of the site activity. This is the first point. Another point is more related to the harsh weather and the environmental conditions. As you all know, in Saudi during summer times, unshaded site activities are interrupted between 12 and 3. While in our confined environment, we have, let's say, the luxury of operating our facility around the clock. And now the fact, speaking of confined environment and controlled environment, brings me to the second point, which is a better quality. The fact of having this, strict processes to be followed, this has its merit and advantages. The second point when it comes to quality, as a contractor, for example, you don't have to run all over the site to make your quality control checks. In clearly defined stations, these tasks can be done in an easier way due to the assembly line concept. Same approach, I will use the assembly line to introduce the third point, which is the cost control. Working in an assembly line gives us a considerably higher productivity per worker. And the best is that this productivity can be predictable. So we have a considerably better control on this aspect, which is mainly overhead and manpower. The second point is waste. Waste at site is known to be around 7 to 8%, while this percentage drops down to 1.5 to 2% when it comes to the factory environment. And this is also an additional point when it comes to cost control, but not only. This brings me to my last point, which is the low carbon footprint. As you know, gentlemen, this product is reusable, relocatable, and even after the life cycle of this product, we can still recycle the majority of the component or the material used in this product. So with the growing concerns of the environmental concerns growing as a whole and in the construction industry in particular, this is giving us a considerable traction as a more sustainable and environmentally friendly solution. Now, too good to be true? Well, we also have our challenges. First point is new mindset. Well, all stakeholders, all actors of the value chains needs to collaborate together, to work together in order to properly execute the project and take into account all the constraints from an early stage of the project. As of now, I still feel some resistance, for example, if I take the example of the module dimensions that are relatively limited due to the transportation regulation. So from a designer point of view, this is an extra layer of complexity that the designer in general tries to avoid, even though, well, sooner or later we will have to adapt to these requirements. Second point, front-loaded design. The point here is, because of its manufactured product, what's happening is that the complex design decision needs to be taken at an early stage of the design. Same thing applies to the material selection. So instead of spreading these decisions over the duration of the project, or at least a certain part of it, we will have to compress them at the beginning. As a result, the procurement exercise has become very concentrated, and which also put pressure on the supply chain. Now, having the procurement or having to place all these orders at the beginning also have an impact on the financing of this project. So lenders, investors are not used to inject the required amount or to open the right facilities, the bank facilities, with these amounts at an early stage of the project. Also, this is another, let's say, constraint. Finally, the heavy investment that we, manufacturer, we need to always continuously keep putting in place, keep investing in, because we need to also step up our industrial park, introducing robotic welding, automatic assembly lines, CNC machines, so we can continuously provide a better quality product. Now I'm showing you some of the projects that we in Newfab executed and handed over this year. We already began this transformation, and we are adjusting our positioning from being a manufacturer to a solution provider. So from the very early stage of the project, we are in contact with designers, with real estate developers to provide some guidance, provide recommendations, and in some cases even executing physical mock-ups for testing purposes. So I hope I gave you a clearer understanding of modular construction in Saudi. I will be around, and I will be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you so much.